There's a contract where a barber was awarded $895,000 for 1 year to cut hair in the federal prisons.
So what's the most remarkable government contract story somebody you know, a client, somebody who's a contemporary of yours, somebody else who does what you do? Give me some remarkable, I can't believe, like you, Carwana, I can't believe people this person got a government contract doing this for this amount of money.
I'm going to tell, so a couple stories. So I work with a lot of entrepreneurs, showing them how to do this. Like for the first time, they're landing like millions of dollars, $250,000, like their life-changing income. Some of the craziest contracts that I've seen. In fact, a barber, there's a contract where a barber was awarded $895,000 for 1 year to cut hair in the federal prisons. There are like hundreds of thousands of dollars in contracts for bottled water. Bottled water, the same water that we see people with carts at ballparks selling for $1, maybe $2. Well, the government buys that in bulk, and they'll give it to you like a $500,000 contract to provide the same water to the government. It's crazy.
So basically you're saying, and maybe you're not saying this, but it sounds like you're saying to me, a person who doesn't yet sell to the government, that I can become a middleman between the government and my manufacturer.
Absolutely.
And make an absolute fortune.
Absolutely. It's just all about positioning.
So what about, so what about all these people out here who have these e-commerce stores and they're selling e-commerce products to individuals? Are you telling me somebody can sign up with like an Alibaba account, import all the stuff from Alibaba or a U.S. manufacturer, whoever, and then sell it to the United States government? And you're getting paid because you know where to order it from and where to ship it to?
Absolutely. That's it. And so there was a young man, his name is Wesley, in 2019 during COVID. This young man, 16 years old, found a contract, paid him millions of dollars selling hand sanitizers and face masks to the government. And so anybody can do this stuff. It's just really about knowledge. But not only does the government buy products.
Can y'all see how done I am? I'm through.
Not only does the government buy products, but they also purchase services. So for everyone that's like doing accounting, bookkeeping, landscaping, like all of these different janitorial services, the government will buy your service as well. So you see how we have like all these cameras and lighting and all this stuff, microphone. The government buys
all that stuff,
podcast services. Like they will buy your service to do a podcast for government agencies. It's crazy. Absolutely. Run the camera, do some editing, all that stuff. In fact, one of the largest contracts that I've been on was $1 million for me to shoot and edit videos.
How many videos? Like 40 million?
I mean, like, okay, so no, not 40 million. Let's just say like this. One video that I've shot, and it took me like a week to edit it, was like $200,000. You can't even, like, if you try to look for...
What are you talking about?
That's what I'm saying. If you try to look for an individual person that you want to sell your video production services, first of all, a lot of people can't afford that.
They don't have $200,000.
They don't have $200,000. They barely want to pay $5,000, right? They be like, give me a hookup for $1,000 or $1,500 or something like that. But to do the same service for the government, you can walk home with a $200,000 check for that same one video. And so
I have to ask, what was the video of?
So it was some video trainings. So at agencies, at the Department of Transportation, they were doing trainings. They were actually training entrepreneurs how to do business with the Department of Transportation. And so I was the videographer who taped those sessions and edited it so that they can actually provide it. And they
paid you $200,000
and they paid me
$200,000 for one video.
For one video, because
you shot and then edited it in a week, and then you invoiced them, and then they sent you a check for $200,000.
It was simply because there was a couple re-edit requests on top of that. Yeah, so absolutely.
Yeah. I'm stupefied, dumbfounded.
You know,
mind blown.
I was stupefied when the first contract that I landed for 70,000. I was stupefied. I was dumbfounded. I was like, wait, let me hurry up and cash this check because I don't know if it's real. I don't know if they gonna come back and take it back. No, but I had to remove that block from my mind that the service that I was offering is so valuable, and the people that I've been chasing all this time trying to convince them, like, they just wasn't the right customer.
They weren't the right
for
customers,
me, right? And so, yeah, the government will pay you your value. They don't pay you.
They'll pay you more than your value. Sounds like
They actually
will help you. They'll help you
more.
identify a new value.
That part, yes.
What?
That part, yes, absolutely, absolutely.
Oh, I literally feel like I just discovered a gold mine.
Mm-hmm.
What about? So I got one for you. So what about entertainers and singers and comedians?
Okay. I'm glad that you said that. So, ironically,
I just thought of that. So that just came to my mind.
So I have a lot. So I grew up in a church. So I have a lot of friends who are musicians and like ministers of music and things of that nature. And so I actually started like doing some research. I'm like, well, I wonder if there's anything for them. And what I've discovered was not only do they have multiple six-figure contracts for ministers of music, like musician services for their chapels, right? But with those types of contracts, look, for their chapel.
What are you talking about?
But with those type of contracts, so if you're doing it for a church, you probably make, let's just say you make 30, 40,000 a year, and you got to be at every church service, every rehearsal, all this time and some, right? Because I know how it is.
And then
they got to be
leading a choir is like herding cats.
Exactly. But for multiple six figures, doing the same services with the government, one Sunday service and one rehearsal a week. That's 2 days out of the week. That's 8 days out of the month for multiple six figures. You still have your life. You can still do your side hustles and all that other stuff. Yeah, so
and they probably have chaplains for the military, and then they have chaplains for prisons, and they have chaplains for
the hospitals. It's the chapels for everything. In fact, there are like at events.
Are y'all seeing this? Are y'all hearing this lady?
Yes, okay. And so at events, they actually at government events, right? They hire event planning.
What is
companies.
A government event? What does that mean?
So government events. So it could be a banquet.
Okay.
It could be inaugural, whatever
White House
type
function,
of
whatever.
Yeah. So when they have these ceremonies or types of events, they hire event planning companies. Well, normally that comes with hiring an entertainment company too. Right? Someone to come sing, to perform, a DJ. So musicians and people who are in entertainment can absolutely get a contract. You just have to understand how to, position yourself to do that. They also, like those event planning contracts also come with there's contracts within contracts, right? These are all the things that I teach. Like it's contracts within contracts. You have to just kind of think outside the box. Well, normally when they're having those events, they hire caterers for food, right? So that's a contract within the event planning contract.
So if you're the event contractor, you can get a contract for the government for the event and for the food, and then you can subcontract the food out to somebody who does catering.
Absolutely.
And then you make the difference.
And the
so you're a middleman between the middleman and the manufacturer of the government, and then you're a middleman between the subcontract.
Yeah.
What?
So we're talking about security, we're talking about decorations, we're talking about all this stuff. Yeah. And then you're hiring a photographer and a videographer on top of that. And so you just ideally when you're working with an individual, so let's just say you're doing a baby shower or those type of events or something like that, right? They pay you one thing for your one service, one fee for your one service. Well, when you're doing business with the government, you actually itemize all that, right? I'm doing the event planning, the coordination, the security, the food, the service, the janitorial cleanups, like all that stuff. So that's how event planning with the government, like you can have hundreds of thousands of dollars in a day for one event.
Hundreds of thousands of dollars
in a day for one event. Absolutely.
Kind of makes you want to be an event planner, don't it?